Hello and welcome back to Empty Pockets Off-Road and Overland. In this video, I'm going to be getting started on my bolt-in cage from Rockhard 4x4. Going to be getting started on the install of that. So I'll show you the cage and then I'll show you what else I need to do on the Jeep to be able to even get to the point where I can put that in. So for this video, I'll probably just be working in the shop here and doing a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. After we get the cage installed, I have some other stuff I want to do in there. And in a later video, I will do a review of living with the cage. Hopefully, I never have to put this cage to the test. It's a bolt-in cage. It looks great. I need to paint it still. But all the welds look amazing. And, you know, I read the debate over and over again versus, you know, bolt-in cage versus weld-in cage, and this one was right for me given all those arguments. So here, I'll go ahead and turn you around and show you what we got here. This is what you get in the box. It comes shipped in a nice container on a crate. I did have to have it shipped to the local Napa. They wouldn't ship it to my house. They require a forklift, or Rockhard recommends having it, you know, shipped to the FedEx facility and you going and picking it up there. This is for a 99 XJ, so late model. This is the front hoop. This is the part that goes around the dash. Then to this one. This bar goes above the windshield. Then back to the second hoop and the third one. Those are the bars that run down into the wheel wells. And then these bars, they run between the second and third hoop. You get directions, and they also just came out with a nice installation video, and I'm just gonna watch their video and go off of that. You get a bag of hardware, and then a bunch of clamps. They look like they're machined very well, and plates for mounting everything down. So I'll show you the list I got going on of everything that I need to do. Ignore my kindergarten level handwriting. So this used to be a cop car. And because of that, they had a spotlight on it, which is gonna have to be removed because the handle for that is gonna be in the way. Finish my tire carrier, I've already done that. I'm gonna check my floorboards for rust before I get all this bolted down. That way I don't need to worry about having to remove my carpet later. I need to install a seatbelt. I'll talk about that in a second. Need to remove those Loyo lights, those rock lights that I have mounted on the interior. In a previous video, I talked about those and they just didn't work out. My headliner is in decent shape, but since it's gonna be a lot harder to get out later, I'm gonna go ahead and replace it now. It has some holes and one tear in it. And then I just gotta test fit the cage. They're adamant about you doing that in case they made any mistakes. They don't want any paint on it before you find out that there's a problem. So I'll test fit it, prep it, paint it, and then go ahead and install it. So I'm really excited about that. That's gonna look great in there. So moving around to the front, I'll show you that cop light that has to be removed. It doesn't work very well anyway. It gets in the way off-road. It got broke on one of our trips. But the handle's what's in the way. So that first tube goes right through here and around the dash, then up here. I'm gonna have to remove my visors, all the handles. Went ahead and removed all my gear for now, put it in the corner. Here are those Loyo lights, and the app on that just sucks. It doesn't want to even turn them on. It just crashes immediately. So I'm going to remove those. I'm going to be replacing them with some nylite truck bed strips. Unfortunately, I have so many holes in here. Not that it matters. When this was a cop car, they had all sorts of gadgets in here and tons of holes. It was after it was a cop car, it was the fire chief's daily driver. And that's where I imagine these came from. Thinking that had to have been some sort of seatbelt cut testing, maybe. I don't know. But I got a new seatbelt to put in there. Remove this whole rat's nest of wiring from the rock lights. When I reviewed that product for Loyo, I told them that they should add a on-off switch, because all their reviews have to do with, you know, the apps sucking. So that would fix their problem there. What else? Oh, there's the tear in the headliner. It really wouldn't bother me, except for, you know, these headliners are notorious for sagging, and I don't want to mess with it later once I already have the cage in, because I imagine the cage would have to come out to be able to install a new headliner. So I have all that laid out. I got some paint, some Gorilla spray adhesive for the new headliner material, a new seat belt from the junkyard. I grabbed these Rhino USA roll bar handles. I bought one of their kinetic energy ropes, awesome product by the way, and they were having a 20% off sale, so I pretty much got these for free during that sale. And then here's my new tire carrier that I mentioned. Sucks in a lot closer to the Jeep than the old one did. So, well, I guess that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, I got most of the trim out. I didn't video it because I figured that'd be pretty boring. I got one of the seat belts out, the one that needs to be replaced. Pretty much, I'm ready to pull the headliner out. I got all the handles out, most of the trim. I did find that my carpet is sopping wet, only on the driver's side. So I want to address this before I put the cage in. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave that carpet in, or I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. Anyway, we're ready to pull that headliner out. There's tons of videos on that. But pretty much you take all the trim out. There's little hangers here. I think some clips in the front. Should come out pretty easy. All right, it's out. You can see I have a coax cable for the CB, and that wiring over there. Get a better look. So, coax cable for the CB antenna. And then this wiring is for all my lights up there. Looks all right. You never know what you're gonna find in an Idaho Jeep. But luckily this one's in really good condition. About 95,000 miles on it now. Which makes pulling bolts out and stuff a lot easier. See, the headliner really wasn't in bad shape, except for this tear back here. Mostly, wow. Mostly I was worried that eventually it would sag, like all of them do. And once the cage is in there, it's gonna be a lot harder to get that out and replace it. So I just wanted to go ahead and take care of it now with that dark gray material. Matches the inside pretty good. I'm wondering if there's a way I can save this sticker. Nice. Hopefully I can put that back up there somehow. Spray some glue up there. Be able to keep kind of a factory look going on. The other headliners that I've done, that's what it looks like. You know, you can tell it needs to you can tell it needs to be redone once it starts sagging. And then usually this whole headliner is just covered in this stuff. You got to scrape it off with a brush. And it's a huge pain. Hopefully that doesn't mean I went too deep in the layers. One of the things they recommend in the Rockhard directions, or their video at least online, is to alter your visors. Now on the edge you have this little flap, and to make a little extra room in there for the bars, they recommend cutting that off. And I just put a new headliner in, so I wanted to re-wrap these anyway. So now you'll see I have cut that piece off, I've rewrapped that. So I'm gonna show you what I did now to rewrap that. I was pretty worried, I thought there was gonna be sewing involved, and I'm not gonna do that, but I found that these are actually really easy to reupholster. So all you have to do is pull the old material off, and it's just pressed down into this little plastic seam. Now I think in their directions they said that the visor is cardboard, and mine is plastic, so maybe there is a difference in the years, I'm not sure. But if you have this style, mine's a 99, my Jeep, then this is super easy. So just to cut this flap off, all I did was grab a razor blade, boom. Cool. Don't need that. Chuck it. Okay. Now this part might be a little tricky because there's a little bit of a learning curve here. Throw my material out. I want to avoid this piece. The edge of this has a big seam, so I'm gonna cut that off just to make this a little easier on me. So now just set your material out. I don't know if you can see that. You kind of want these edges to be straight. Mine are all hacked up from using the scissors. The razor blade works a lot better if you're curious. All right, I think that will do. So now you just go around the edge. Let me get this started and then I will show you exactly what I'm doing. Oh, it only tucks in on one side, so. So pretty much what we got going on here, try to put this in a spot where you can see and I can still work. I have my Leatherman, and there's a little seam right there that goes around the edge of this visor. You're just gonna wanna take your pocket knife or you know, a flathead screwdriver would probably work, and just push the edge of your material down into that seam. Sorry about the noise. I have the heater on in here. I'm working in our septic shop again. It's freezing cold outside, so there was no way I was working in my little garage doing this. Once you get over to this edge, don't cut off too much fabric and make sure you have enough sitting over here that you'll be able to fold it over. But I just took the scissors and went up a little bit just to make this easier to work with. And the seam only goes around 3 sides of this visor. Okay, once you get that first half in, take your material and fold it around again. And just go back around, pushing it back into that seam. I hope you can even see what I'm doing. I'm just letting it overlap a little bit. And I'm pushing it in. I'm trying to pull the fabric kind of tight while I do this. So if I wrap it around, pull it tight, I should be able to just follow this seam right here. So I can move you in closer. And once you get it all pressed in, you're going to cut off the excess and then go around one more time. And and make sure that anything that was left over is pushed down in there. Grab your skizzers. Make sure you're not cutting the visor side, obviously. Just try to get in tight, but not too tight. So I'm leaving about, I don't know, a 1/4 inch gap between. Now on this edge, just like the other side, tried to fold this inside itself so that it's not just the raw edge sticking out. Okay, just like that. And then just go around one last time. When you go around this time, you'll notice that the fabric pulls a lot tighter, which gives it a lot better look. Looks really good, except for the wood chips that are stuck in it now. Now this is the driver's side one, so it'll go just like that. Earlier in the video I stuck the sticker over here. I'm gonna stick it on here now. Still kind of sticky actually, but can't tell if any's coming. There we go. Put a ton of glue on that. Okay, just try to center this. This sticker was up on the headliner, not the visor. Oh well. It'll look good enough here. Command track, 4-wheel drive, T-case, information. Let that tack up and dry for a minute, and then I'm gonna go ahead and install these visors. And now I'm to the point where I can go ahead and test fit my cage. I'm a little nervous about it. I got all my bolts separated. My brackets, I thought that I told them that I didn't have carpet, but I didn't. So I only have these brackets. They say in their video that you need to tell them if you don't have carpet, and they'll send you extra brackets to make up for that space. So I might trace these out onto some scrap metal and make my own plates to kind of make up, because even where there is carpet, I'm thinking that I might just you know, cut the carpet out there so it's mounted just to the sheet metal, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll get to that in a minute. All right, I got those in. The headliners, that is. Got my sticker on there. Turned out great. So now I'm gonna go ahead and test fit the cage. And before I do, I'm gonna grab some paint thinner and I'm gonna wipe these bars down, because they came coated with something that's pretty messy. So go ahead and do that first hoop. Just real quick. Just to kind of clean it up just a little bit. This is not my paint prep, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect. Just want to be able to handle it without getting all greasy. I gotta say, these bars and their welds and everything, it just all looks so good. They really just did an outstanding job. I'll go over these really well when I get ready to paint, of course. They've been sitting in my garage for at least a few weeks. So definitely maybe use a wire wheel treatment. Now this first hoop, it actually weighs a decent amount because of those steel ends over here for this is the part that goes along the dash there. So let me see if I can set this in there a way that you can see what I'm doing. All right, I put on the good old super view, so hopefully you can see me shoehorn that in there. Grab my gloves. They recommend using 2 people. You could definitely see where that would be valuable. Watch me rip a hole in my new headliner. Not in your way. Ooh. Finished my finger. So cool. I don't think I have it in far enough though. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and stick the second hoop in. I think it'll probably be a lot easier to come through the rear hatch. You get it in once and then you got to go through and take it out and do it all again because you got to paint it. Gonna go somewhere in there. Well, I don't know if you can see that. I just ripped off my rearview mirror. That is the second time this winter that it has popped off. Trying to get that centered. Two people would be really handy. All right, here we are, ready to paint. Had to get a little creative here to paint these hoops. I'm not the best at prepping. And that is my one gripe with this product is I really wish that they would have offered a powder coat option, because I would have definitely paid even a few hundred extra to have this scent powder coated, so that I didn't have to worry about, you know, my prep work or doing a good job painting. I'll have to paint this and then move it over and paint the spots that are against the board, so that'll probably be noticeable. I've already painted the tie-in bars. I had those strung across the shop on that blue rope over there. So, anyway, I'm gonna get to painting. All right, back at it today. You know, I work on this Jeep just in the evenings, sometimes after work. So that's why things don't get done very quick, and the video might be a little choppy because of it. I have to clean out the interior on the Jeep again because after I started doing this install, I needed my Jeep back. We had a big snowstorm and I needed to be able to get around and do well in the snow. So I loaded up all my stuff again, and now it needs to come back out. I need to pull my hoops off of my makeshift paint booth here, and then I also need to cut some other brackets. Now when I ordered this, I forgot to mention that I was going to take my carpet out, or maybe I thought that I wouldn't be taking my carpet out, but after looking at the floorboards, I think I might take my carpet out. At any rate, I want to have the option, so I'll trim the carpet so that if I do want to cut it out, it won't, you know, be wedged underneath the mounting brackets. And they recommend in their video to use a second set of mounting plates underneath these to kind of shim up all the hoops. And since I forgot to mention it, they didn't send a second set. So instead of waiting for them to go ahead and send it, I'm not even gonna bother them. I'm just gonna cut some extra ones. I have some of the same steel here. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna be working on now. All right. I have test fitted my cage. I have prepped and painted my cage. I have made the extra set of plates to go with the originals. I've set out all my stuff. I've made a giant mess here in the shop. And now it's time to go ahead and start installing this. Now, the first thing they want you to do is watch their install video and then read the directions. I've done both those things, and I've run into a bit of a hiccup, something I kind of expected. I've probably already mentioned it in the video. But first of all, you're gonna go and locate the 6 drain plugs. The 2 in the front are these round ones. On this driver's side, you can see I need to get rid of that little bit of silver sound deadening first. And then I'm gonna need to scuff up and paint at least where my plates are gonna be mounted. I've taken the carpet out of that side. I've pulled it back on this side. And eventually what I'm gonna be running is just floor mats up front. And then I'll trim the carpet on all the other posts to go around them. But I've cut my carpet in a way that I can put it in and out. So in the summertime, I'll run carpet up front and I'll trim it however I need to make it work. But in the wintertime, I'm just gonna run floor mats. So that's why I'm installing it as if I don't have carpet. Which I'm glad I did, because the driver's side's the worst for it, but there's a lot of surface rust starting, and that's definitely not something I'd want to deal with after I have the cage in, trying to take the carpet out. So the first step is to drill out. Well, first step is to locate all the drain plugs. The second step is to drill them out, starting with 1/8 to 1/4 right in the center of those drain plugs, and then increasing the holes in these front 4 plugs to 1/2 inch, and the rear holes to 5/8. So front plugs are there. The middle plugs are right here. You'll see them right behind your seat bracket underneath. And pretty easy to get to. Then the rear ones, if you look under here, right at the back of the wheel well, there's a rubber plug. And if you push up on that plug and look inside, you'll see that it comes up about right here. So that is the 3rd plug on either side. This one is dead center between where your factory tire carrier bracket was at, right there. Now the problem is they want you to drill it from the bottom. The rear, obviously, you're just gonna take that plug out and then enlarge the hole. The middle one, I can reach, no problem. See it right there. But the front one is right underneath my JCR rock slider. And I might be able to get into it at an angle, but I think I'll just go from the top in the front. Figured I might as well show you what's going on here and how I'm going to remove the carpet. First, I have to remove these two screws. I know my carpet is disgusting. Guess I don't pay attention to the back seat very often. We have a toddler sitting back here that apparently likes to drop food all over the floor. And then in addition to that, there's all sorts of dog hair. And I haven't vacuumed the Jeep out in quite a while. So once I pull these screws out, I'm gonna make a couple cuts in the carpet so that I can pull it back and get to that drain plug that's somewhere right there. But as you can see underneath my driver's seat, there's a spot. I forget what used to be mounted there. I think one of the airbags, or airbag sensors, I mean, or something like that. Anyway, it was a recalled item, I believe, and they removed them and relocated them. So mine still had the cutout spot there. And I just reached my hand under the carpet here, and it's just sopping wet. So even though the carpet up here is dry, underneath it is wet, which, you know, over time is going to lead to rust. I would much rather run carpet. I think it looks better. You know, not in this state, I guess, but it looks better and has other benefits like sound and heat deadening. But if it's going to rust out my floors, then it's really not worth it. So what I did on the other side is I grabbed a Sharpie, sitting around here somewhere, and I just traced straight across. And then I was able to cut that and pull it out, but here I'm just gonna cut back like that. I was using the Sharpie just to kind of mark my way. Carpet cuts real nice and easy. And then once you get to a certain point, you can just pull on it and it'll come out from underneath the trim over here. Now that's so wet that when it flung like that, it sprayed me with water. Gosh, that carpet looks disgusting. I am not always a pig. Anyway, once you get to this point, you can kind of just pull on it and work it out from underneath there. At least this side looks better. It doesn't need as much prep as the other side did. And then in the back, already pulled that side up. But back here, where your tie down goes, you can just reach in and pull the carpet over that. Here's the last drain plug. What I was just saying is it sucks. I wish I could just pull all this carpet out and put paint down and it would look good and be okay, but that's just not the case. It's wet back here too. You can see when I move that around how much mud there is. But all this, you know, caulking around the edges and just doesn't look good. that sound ending in the middle. That silver stuff pulls up okay, and underneath looks like brand new metal. That, I mean, it wouldn't be fun to look at all the time. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna finish prepping the front, get some spray paint on it, and then we'll get on with the install. So, I'm gonna go ahead and drill my holes now. Try to get that right in the center, the best I can, of that drain plug. Looks pretty close to me. Now I'll drill with the smaller bit first. Then I'll move on to the bigger bit. The 1/2 inch is what it's wanting on these front 4 holes. We're working on the passenger side right now, if you couldn't tell. Now to do this one, the smart thing, the easy thing to do is going to be to move this seat forward a little bit. Separates already. There we go. Okay. All right, I think we're good to go there. All right, there's that. Now I'll repeat that same process on the driver's side. I just wanted to point out in the back, they're wanting us to step this hole up, it says. And as you can see, it had a rubber drain plug in it, and it's already way bigger than this was. So this one's gonna kind of act as just a clamp, I think. Well, I ran into quite a problem getting that H-bar to line up on this crossbar here. And I found out that the lower pieces here were threaded, and they're not supposed to be. I reached out to customer service. They got back to me and said that is a problem. So now I get to drill them out. I'm still having that problem where this side of the clamp of the H-bar doesn't want to line up on the crossbar. Got Jeremy here now to help me. He's over here measuring his shaft. And I'm gonna drill those holes, and then we're gonna try to clamp this into place, and hopefully with two of us we can muscle it into its spot. So that's what we're up to now. All right, it's time to put this H-bar back in. It's gonna be a lot easier with 2 people. We also found out that it's a lot easier to go in and out of the passenger side than it is the driver's side, not having to fight that steering wheel. So that's that. When I started filming this, it broke up my rearview mirror. Don't make me a liar, Jeremy. That's when I press the power or the click to film, it turns off. All right, Jeremy's gonna go ahead and thread in the 2 center bolts over there onto the back half clamp. Look at it now.
This is the easiest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, aren't those terrible? Going.
I got him. Let me get this one.
So when I started on that side, it seemed like the clamp end on the H-bar was welded on kind of wrong. I'm kind of wondering, I think maybe what happened is they pulled out of the wrong box and welded those on. You know, easy mistake. But since that seems to be welded on at the wrong angle, we're gonna snug that up a bit and then try to force this one into place and see how that goes.
We gotta scoot this back. Can we pull, do you think we pull a bolt out? I can get a couple more in here, and then we can flex that into place. I can break your dash.
I hope not.
I think we should get them.
Pretty snug.
Just all of them started.
Oh, I agree.
Then no matter what, they don't really have the choice to go.
Yeah. How much room do you have? We want to try to make sure it's centered.
Oh, I'm not going that. I didn't think I'd go that tight.
Oh, okay.
Into the slide. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Sean?
So we got all 6 on this side started. Now we're gonna sit in the Jeep. Jeremy's fiddle faddling around on the floor. We're gonna see if we can get that clamp to line up on the bar. That side worked well when this side wasn't connected, but there definitely seemed to be a bind in it, so. What's the problem over there?
Nothing.
See, that's the bind is too much. So pull that back off the bar. Like down. Yeah. Probably about right there.
Your finger on this side? A little more?
Yeah. Looks good to me.
It'll work.
Let's get that one started too. And they're probably just gonna be really hard to tighten with all that extra pressure on them.
This side fits good. That side does not.
It doesn't look good.
I think it'll go, but it's not. It's still got a gap.
I guess as long as it's tight, though. It's just not going to have as much pressure as you wouldn't want.
I would, after we get these started, tighten that side up first. That way it'll pull a little out of this.
Yeah, probably get it up into place. Once you get those started, we'll raise this up and hook up that second hoop. So on this side, we're having a problem with this center bolt hitting a big spot, a high spot in the weld. And it just won't go in unless we grind down that weld a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it won't go in straight. I am questioning this company's quality control a little bit. You know, they forgot to drill out all these holes, so I had to drill them myself. Not that big of a deal, just kind of a pain. But then not being able to even get this bolt in, you know, it's kind of an important piece. We're gonna keep working at it, but we're probably gonna have to file the booger in the weld down a little bit just to be able to get that center bolt in.
Wow. I can't hardly get this in the hole now.
Oh, really?
Did you have to flex it last time?
Did you get it?
I think it'll go. Wow, you do lose a lot of visibility. It's cool though.
You want to hand me one of those Allen wrenches?
I think that's gonna come out a bit.
What?
I think that'll be all right. I think that'll come out. Man, I'd almost have moved this up if I was him.
That's what I was thinking too, to get it right out of the way, but then people whine about not having visors.
Oh.
I guess you might be able to hit your head on it too.
Still, they could have pulled it up. Kind of cool though. I get it, it can't be perfect, but a little quality control.
A little quality control would be nice. You know, I reached out to their customer service, and you'd think that if that were my company and I had messed up on drilling that and with the angle, I would have offered to send a new H-bar.
Yeah. Or at least be a little apologetic, or yeah, let me know if you can make it work, or
Yeah,
make it worth your while.
They didn't apologize at all, which, you know, whatever. I don't want to be a big baby, but, you know, take some accountability other than, oh yeah, that isn't right. Mm-hmm. You know, I had to send them about 1 million pictures just for them to, you know, understand what I was even talking about, which might be my fault, I guess, but. All right, so I had to run home and grab my Dremel. I'm gonna try to address this problem. You can see that. There's a big boogery weld there that won't let the head of that bolt go down. So to fix that, I'm going to try to Dremel that big boogery weld down a little bit so that I can get the head of that bolt down.
Still not good enough. Oh, wow. Oh, man, that was just really bad.
When I stick my finger in there, I can feel a big lip. Almost there. Oh my gosh, I need a front window. Well, I was able to get the drill bit in there a little bit and wobble out that hole and the Dremel, and finally got that head of that bolt in. Now, they make a recommendation, Rockhard does, to use one of these, I don't know if that's focusing or not, but one of these Allen bolts or Allens that have the rounded ball on the end. I would definitely agree with that recommendation. It makes tightening these so much easier. So now I finally have all 12 bolts up here on the front hoop in. I have a clamp holding that one's place. Now it's time to put in the crossbars. Well, I'm finally ready to start in the back. But before I go any further, I'm gonna go through and just chase all these threads like they recommend, just to clear any debris or paint out of there. And I'm just gonna go through and do that on all of the rest of the pieces that are threaded. And it doesn't take much since it's already been tapped. Just get that started by hand, and then I'm using crescent wrench to spin that around, and just I'm running it in until it starts poking out the back. And then I'm running it back out, and I'm going to do that with all the final holes that are threaded. which these are your 45 bars. And then I believe those ones up there are threaded. And then one side on these bars will be threaded. No more of the clamps are threaded. So that's where I'm at now. All right, I'm ready to put in the next piece of the puzzle. And that's the bars that run from the second hoop above the driver and passenger seat to the rear hoop. Now you're gonna want the angled end kind of faces down. The straight bar side that doesn't have an angle on it goes against the hoop. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to I'm gonna try to start a couple bolts up here, and then I will move to the back, and I will also get a couple bolts started back there. All right, so now we're here in the rear, right by the hatch. And I have that lined up how I think it's supposed to be. And I'm just gonna loosely put on one of these round caps. Just try to start those bolts by hand so that I don't have to worry about stripping them out. I'm not going to tighten them down yet either. I'm just going to put them in there loosely. Kind of a tight fit again. Careful when you're putting them in there. You don't want to cross thread it. They should go in pretty easy, especially if you took the time to chase those threads. That tap is supplied with this kit, so you don't need to worry about going and buying the right one. It comes with your hardware. I did have to, I stripped one of my bolts. I was able to run down to Napa, and they were able to supply me with a new one.
So I got those started. I'll run back up to the front, start the rest of those. Having two people on this install, I would consider to be a necessity. Even right now, just getting these in, Jeremy wasn't available today, but just having someone pick up on the back and, you know, maybe work on the other side while I'm doing this side would be really nice. So those are all started. I'll jump over to the other side. Moving over to the driver's side, as you might remember, hopefully you can see it on the camera, we had already put on one of these clamps just to hold the second hoop to the front, and that worked really well. I definitely recommend doing that. Don't recommend doing that. Might be easier to stick the back in first. Yeah, with that side already on, this side is a lot tighter. Okay, so just like with the front, I'm seeing, just visually looking at this, I can tell that these clamps don't line up exactly right. Which makes sense. If the front was welded on wrong, the back is gonna be not exactly right either. Disconnected the rear so I could twist this a little bit and get those to line up. And then just like with the front bar, the H-bar problem, I'll just force that one into place. This install has definitely taken me a lot longer than I thought it would. Which I won't be upset if I get it in there completely and I like the way it looks and I like the way it feels. Looking good back here.
getting really close to the final stages of this install. Pretty excited. The issues aside, it looks great. The shop neighbor out here just came over to borrow a tool, and he's like, man, this looks cool. I know it's silly, but looks are important to me. I like getting compliments on the things I build, and it's one of the reasons why I went with this cage, is it looks good. I like the pictures they have online. All started, looking good. The next step. Oh, I also, just to mention, I think earlier in the video I had this hoop in wrong. After looking at pictures on their website, the bigger part of the base plate goes forward. It puts you in roughly the same spot, but this is right, and I had it wrong originally. With there just being one bolt back here, I think I can go ahead and start snugging the bottom plate down. That way these bars are in the right position when I go to install them. It roughly goes like that. So that drain plug, as mentioned previously, is right behind the wheel well. I have this new plate that I made, and their supplied locking nut. So I'm just gonna reach up and put that on there. Locking nut looks like it's about a 15/16. Then the top side uses a pretty big Allen. Alright, I think I was supposed to do this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I'm going to drill the holes in this. This is the front hoop that goes over the dash. I'm going to drill the holes in the plate for that, and put the plate on the underside. I'll do that on both sides, and then I will go to the 45 bars in the back. The nuts for the underside of these two bolts are a 9/16. Not sure about the bigger one yet. Right here, the bolts that come through the floor, unfortunately, are right directly above the tie-in support for my JCR rock slider. I think I should still be able to tighten them no problem though, so. Have both the front plates mounted down. Now we're moving back to the hoop that goes over the seats, the second hoop, and I'm gonna drill I believe they're 3/8 holes, mount this bracket down, and then we'll repeat the same process on the driver's side. Now, with this one, I moved the seat as far forward as I could and tilted it as far forward as I could. It's gonna be a tight fit still. If I put this Allen in there, I can reach up when I'm sitting on the ground and hold it in place while I tighten that bolt. Luckily, this side isn't completely under or above, I guess. It's not completely above this kick out on the rock slider there. I did notice this. This is the drain plug, and they must have been removed at some point because those tabs aren't flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a hammer and tap those flat. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten those down and then repeat the process on the other side. Time to install the 45-degree bars. This is on the very back hoop. Now you might have to, they are side specific. I'm pretty sure this is the one that goes on this side. I know that because it lines up with the bar over here and touches the wheel well. I don't think the other one will do that. Yeah, if you can see, so if I try to clamp this one on, it just doesn't line up down here. So this goes on the other side. Now in their video, they say that they ran up 24.5. About. So measuring from the plate, it's about right here. And that's going to be right for me as well. So grab my bucket of hardware, set a clamp on there, drop it. I don't know if you can see me shaking in the camera. I'm getting pretty tired. I just busted my thumbnail a minute ago and there was blood coming out of the middle of my nail. So that's fun. So unlike the other locations, I am gonna get all of these in and tight. I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this down how it's supposed to be. And then I just have a couple more holes to drill and a few more bolts to put in. And we're caged. Ran those down. As I tightened it, I was paying attention to this part of the bar, making sure it wasn't working its way out or anything. Seems to be lined up pretty good. You want to pay attention. This is a bar welded. They must have cut a slot for this plate to go slide in there because there's bar on both sides. So you want to pay attention and make sure that this inside is not being interfered with by the wheel well. Mine is pushed out a little bit, so maybe it might be a little bit. But I'm just gonna run those bolts down real tight and hope for the best. I was right on 24.5 from the plate to the bottom of this. The bottom of that clamp. So now I'm gonna drill a couple more holes. And then I will install that hardware. When you do this side, so I have my plate that goes inside the wheel well and my bolts, and you want to run them from the outside in. That way you don't have bolts hanging out in your wheel well. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reach and do this on my own. I should mention before I did that, I did check the clearance on the windshield one last time. That's your last opportunity
if there's anything off a little bit, you can hook a ratchet strap to that center bar, run it out your rear hatch, and either around your hitch or around your shackle there, and ratchet on it and fine tune it before you put these in. So anyway, I have to tighten those down, do the driver's side, go around one last time and check all my clamp bolts and all the floor bolts, and then I'm done. That's my cage. All right, let's take a quick look at this cage before I put the camera down. It looks pretty good in there. I did notice that this side is a little bit closer than the passenger side, but the alignment on here is off too. And I most likely could have adjusted that, but you get to a certain point and you're like, yep, looks good enough. So that's what it looks like looking back. Still have to put that crossbar in, of course. Looks cool in the windshield. So that's it. This was a pretty frustrating install. Having those clamps that were threaded when they're not supposed to be was frustrating. I thought being a bolt-in cage that it would be a little more straightforward. And I'm not the only one that thought that. I ran it by a few of my friends that stopped by. Jeremy, he thought, man, that's kind of ridiculous. But if it does its job, I'm happy. It's not going to be perfect. The Jeep's not perfect. It's an old rig. It's an off-road rig. So as long as it, looks decent and does its job, then I'm going to be happy. I will be able to put my cop light back in. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have enough clearance. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's a cool conversation piece. And now I don't have to worry about making any sort of bracket for that. What else? Oh. So in a few weeks, after I've driven this for a while, I'm going to go ahead and do another video, a bit of an update, and talk about my opinions of the overall product, my experience with it, any catches that I've discovered since, how user-friendly it is for a daily driver. I will say so far getting in and out, no problems. I have noticed a few little things that I will address in that video. And in that video, I will tell you whether I would spend my money on it again. It was about $1,450 to be shipped here, plus all my time and paint. And so in that video, I will address all those things. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out for the next couple weeks. As always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed watching my subscriber count go up. And if you appreciated this video, go ahead and like this video. Consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions about the install, go ahead and leave a comment and I will definitely answer those. I enjoy talking to everybody online. So anyway, I'll see you next time.